Hello comic fans, here's our great cheers. When I said in a recent video that crime is almost as important for European comics as are superheroes for American comics, I guess that was a slight exaggeration because there are obviously other factors that are very important for European comics. As it is with the specific historic background, as I've often said, and as a matter of fact, I arranged my shelf over on the right-hand side here in terms of the different historic settings, starting with the Stone Age. I did a series of videos about this shelf a while ago. Maybe you want to check this out. Today, it's not any kind of overview, really random picks that I picked just because I read these books here in the last couple of weeks. And yeah, they cover this aspect, being adventures in a specific time frame, specific historic setting, in very different ways. I thought this could be maybe of some interest. So I want to talk about Bob Morane, drawn by the fantastic Vance. Odilon, Verjus, the complete saga collected in 2 thick books. I guess some kind of secret tip. And not a secret tip, not at all. Pretty famous comic here, at least in Europe. Johan und Pfiffikus, written and drawn by Peyo, the creator of the Smurfs. And here you can see the first appearance of the Smurfs is within this tome, number 3. I'm a bit hesitant to buy the last 2 collected editions because I actually don't want to invest my shelf space and money too much on comics for children, as you have to draw somewhere the line somewhere. By the way, there you can see here, over there, the first 2 collected editions of Johan und Pfiffikus. So, yeah, I want to draw the line here, but as you know, it's not so certain if I am strong enough to keep up with these kind of promises, because this here really is a charming story with a nice king. I mean, where do you have a nice king? Well, good-hearted king, if not in fairy tales or in fairy tale-ish comics. This is set in the medieval ages. They have Johan and Pfiffikus. They have to solve some mysteries, fight some villains, and the villains here are, it's very clear from the get-go, who is the villain. Look at these faces, I mean. And Peyo's cartooning is surprisingly minimalistic in a way, but very effective and fun. There's an energy going on here, and you're really pulled through these stories and have fun with these characters. Even if not all the jokes here aged very well. But this story here, and particularly this hawk here, pet of pirlouit, this is really fun up to the present day because this hawk here is a vegetarian. So pirlouit wants to teach him some tricks, but Romulus here, that's the name of our vegetarian hawk, he is just not interested until he sees some carrot. And that's the stuff he wants. And yeah, you can guess if this guy here is a good one or not a good one. He is obviously the villain here in the story. Yeah, anyhow. And then in the end, we have our Smurfs here. And this is some kind of some historic importance, obviously. It's very nice how they are introduced to us. Because at first we just see a blue hand there, and many Strumpf, I think, or I don't know how the Smurf language works in English. Probably have a nice Smurf, probably, and they are chasing this magic flute here, which is the MacGuffin in the story there. That's the goat is the pet of Pirlouit. And so it takes some time until we really can see the Smurfs in all their blue glory. Here. They are there again, hidden under these helmets. So it's really the tension builds. Where will they appear for the first time? Oh, that's blue, but not a Smurf. Let's look. But believe me, they are there. Here. I guess if I haven't overseen it, this is the full first appearance of a Smurf, and looks not so rounded and cute like our Smurfs today, but that's usually the evolution of these characters, that the eyes will get bigger, the heads a bit rounder. Look just at Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck, because they look cuter that way, even though I think this is a cute group of Smurfs, and we have even Papa Smurf, Daddy Smurf there. Oder Papa Schlumpf, der große Schlumpf in German. So, anyhow, Johan et pirlouit. Then to some totally different beast here. Odilon verjus, written by Yann and drawn by verron. And these books here are beautifully made, with these golden embossing here. And if you think this looks like Josephine Baker, yeah, it is, because Josephine Baker is a leading character here, besides our odd couple here in the middle. This is Odilon verjus, a missionary who has to fight for the rights of the Vatican and the Catholic Church. But it's a bit difficult, because he obviously was, before he became a priest, a pimp at the Pigalle in Paris. And here we have, yeah, you know that guy there. And this is a pure joy. The whole series. We have 4 albums in the first collected edition, 3 in the second, with lots of bonus material that tell us about the creation process of the stuff here. It's a tour de force through the world of the end of the 20s and beginning 30s here. Maybe the strongest stories are those who mock the Nazis, because our odd couple here has not only to go to Papua to bring the love of Christ to the people there, even though Odilon makes it very clear afterwards that this was the place to be for him, and these were the people and the world he loved the most of all his travels here. But our poor heroes here, they will be sent in the next adventure, of all places, to Pigalle in Paris. So, yeah, as I said, he has some kind of history with that place. So he's not so in love with that here, as he swears here in mean Papuan, New Guinean, obviously, and yeah, but then they both go to Paris, and this this story here is full with fun stuff, like look at the tattoos on his back here. I like the cartooning style a lot. When you look at all these backgrounds, you see funny details that you haven't seen before. And side characters here like Edith Piaf. And all the philosophers and poets that were there in Paris of the time, end of the 20s. They will appear here in the setting, here in the story. Here's already the third adventure here in the first book, where they have to go into the polar regions. And they meet this lady here, who happens to be Leni Riefenstahl, who is at least as cold as the ice itself. Leni Riefenstahl, the movie maker who made later on the propagandist movies for Hitler and his henchmen. And she is portrayed in a fun way, if I can say so, but portrayed as the evil, bitch that she was. All the, these guys here are portrayed very true to the fact as the assholes that they actually were, especially in the last story here, Adolf, which takes place a short time before the Nazis really took over. Actually, this is here after the election that Hitler actually lost. He weaseled his way up the ladders later on. Anyhow, Hitler lost this election here, and he plans on doing some dramatical suicide and making some movie out of that. And Josephine Baker is still a thing right there on Berlin stages. And look about the reaction of our two priests there. And Leni Riefenstahl has or should make a movie about his suicide here. There he is planning his own suicide, and he wants to wrap himself then with the fabric in which Jesus was supposedly wrapped into. So yeah, he had a sense for drama and pathos, old Adolf, of course. If anything, he had this. And yeah, Josephine Baker and our priests here, they and this is what Josephine Baker made with some kind of other fabric, just as a statement. This is maybe, or probably, the best album of all of the 7 albums that are included here in these 2 collected editions. I don't want to go too much into detail about the second collected edition, but it's fair to say that the fun continues, especially when they arrive in Hollywood, of all places. And here you can see a drawing for some fresco wall painting in Brussels, and it's always astonishing to me what a standing comics have in Belgium. I'm really envious and amazed as well. It's really awesome. So here we have again lots of preparation sketches. The first comic leads us into the Bretagne in France. And then we go to Hollywood, to the Marx Brothers, and here, Wade Retro Hollywood. I mean, it's full of action, fun, stupid gags, goofiness galore. I just want to show you the last panel here because I want to leave you with this cover drawing. No, actually, I want to leave you with this thing here, which is the segue into the last story called Zeppelin, because they travel then with a Nazi Zeppelin right there. But here's a good example how the comic and the writer Yann twists Latin quotes in a fun and succinct manner. Ars longa vita brevis merda aeterna est. Art is long, life is short. Only the shit stays the same. Or only shit is eternal, however. But now to good shit from past times. I'm talking about Bob Morane, a series of crime, sci-fi, conspiracy pulp novels written by Henri Vernes. And William Vance was not the first one to draw this character here, but I'm very much into his very old school yet masterful style, which was not masterful from the get-go here. It's not bad, but it's a bit far from the William Vance that you may know and love from 13, even though here are already some face drawings that look pretty like later William Vance to me. So the first two albums here are very much the usual fare about smugglers of atom weapons or drug dealers and cartels. And the third album here, and that's the one I want to show you a bit more in detail, because first of the improved artwork by William Vance, and secondly because now we have this blend of sci-fi tropes here, because then this lady here shows up and she is an Hyperborean, and the Hyperboreans, this is a trope that seems of never-ending interest for pop culture, from Mike Mignola to Guido Crepax and whatnot. They all use these tropes of a Hyperborean species that high-tech civilization that lived a long time before us, and so Atlantis was nothing but an Hyperborean city, and so on and so on. I don't know if they here really address Atlantis in some later story, but it's the same deal here. You have this tech here. There is a satellite around Earth, which seems to be of a danger for Earth, and it was installed by these bluish Hyperboreans there, and they look for help and have no other as help than Bob Morane and Bill Ballantine, our couple there. And yeah, so I mean the story is really very, very, very the what you expect. There are no surprises here, but the visuals here are astounding. I mean, this is panel by panel just a treat in case you are in for this kind of old school cartooning. I mean, this is just the basis to enjoy William Vance's art style, because I think, at least in European comics, he is the most classic of all and justice ladies. She is of the arch enemy of our both heroes here in a way, but she is a lady with gloves, and yeah, really don't take this stuff here too seriously, but you can enjoy the painting style here on the cover, and yeah, the visuals are really a treat. And why have I put it here in adventures within a specific historic setting? Well, because it was done in the late 60s, and that's obviously the easiest way to get your historic background when the comic was created in that time, and really breathes this late 60s vibe here in all the details and the fashion the characters here sport, and the characters are really as they have been taking out of some old cigarette advertisements. So while the other stories here obviously were deliberately set in these time frames in the medieval setting, and yeah, in the late 20s and 30s, early 30s. So, thanks for listening and watching. Goodbye.